We generally assume things will play by a predetermined set of rules, right? Like gravity will affect the way objects move and energy can be converted but not destroyed. Toast will always land butter side down, you know the drill. Anomalies are unsettling because they don't follow these guidelines and could often go way off the rails. Some could be doing this just to spite the pitiful rules of relativity, others may just because they just don't know any better. Because they're from other dimensions. Of course, there are plenty of scary SCPs from universes that are not our own, and when they breach the veil that separates us, things can get pretty weird. Hello horror heads, and welcome back to the Scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. I'm your horror host Keegan Hughes, and today we're counting down the top 5 scary SCP monsters from another dimension. Strap into your TARDIS and grab a towel or two because we are heading headlong into some heavy, hard to explain horror. Before we get started, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more interdimensional demons. Perfect, let's begin. Crawling its way in at number 5, we have SCP-093. At first glance, this SCP isn't from another dimension or a monster. In fact, it appears just to be a small red disc carved from cinnabar, covered in circular engravings and unknown symbols. Honestly, that alone is pretty scary considering how much mercury is present in this toxic ore. But the fact that humans once dyed their clothes with this poison isn't what makes this SCP horrifying. Nope, there is a whole new world of fear to be discovered through this little crimson checker. Depending on who holds the disc, it will change color. As of right now, no one's completely sure as to why it changes color or what each one signifies. Some hypothesize that it has to do with the regrets of each person, although that's neither here nor there. The important thing is that when the disc is a different color, it leads to different locations. If left unheld by a human or on a surface that is not a mirror, 093 will move autonomously and seek out the nearest mirror. Once settled on a reflective surface, it will turn the silvery sheet into a portal of sorts. The location that it leads to changes depending on the color that the disc currently exudes. Through various tests, the Foundation has sent many people into the portals and discovered a terrifying alternate reality. In the mirror lies an alternate Earth, in which a hyper-religious sect took over. A godlike figure appeared and told people of an upcoming holy war in which all survivors would be considered clean of sin. To help them fight, the figure granted humans a decade of insane technological advances and then immediately peaced out. This led to the discovery and use of a substance known as his tears. Dramatic, right? It's still unclear as to what this stuff actually is, but the folks in the Holy War world used it for a whole lot of different reasons. Mostly though, it was used to cleanse sin and bring people closer to him. Criminals, adulterers, non-believers, you name it, forcibly cleaned through his tears. However, in a shocking turn of events, nobody could have seen this coming. Oh, why didn't somebody just think of the children? The stuff had some gnarly side effects. Too much of it in a pure state can and will turn people into horrifying monsters. Of course, why didn't anybody think of this before? Known as the unclean, these are giant bisected humanoids that crawl around on the ground using their huge arms. No face, no legs, no communication. These things usually move around slowly, but they can be very quick if agitated or alerted to a presence. And if they get close enough to a life form, they absorb it. At first they seemed controllable, dealable, but soon enough they brought about a genetic apocalypse, absorbing everything and never dying. Nobody could escape the unclean, and as such this world ended. All that remains is the unclean. Let's just hope none of them make it to this world. Oh boy. Coming in at number 4, we have SCP-1437. Some believe that this SCP provides another portal to the world of the unclean, which is a terrifying prospect. But hey, there's no proof as of yet, so let's just forget about it, right? 1437 is an endless hole in the desert that acts as an access point to an unknown number of parallel universes. These alternate worlds are only accessible through the mouth of the hole. All attempts to access 1437 through digging, blasting, or otherwise circumventing the main entrance leads to thick, impenetrable rock. Every once in a while, objects will fly out of the hole at great speeds. Things like a quarter, dirt, rocks, a map of North America written in Spanish, an alien skyline, discs of solid gold, and messages requesting objects, weather, services, and other things things have been spat out. All sorts of these objects point to totally different versions of Earth existing somewhere at the end of this underground tunnel. Lots of potential for different organisms too, although living beings seem to die somewhere along the interuniversal highway. With other universes come other Foundation type organizations and other objects flying out of other holes at other ends. Some are similar, some are almost unrecognizable. Religious themes, risk-averse procedures, holes of different sizes, locations, interpretations, and more. There have been attempts to communicate with folks through the tunnel, whether it be through tributes, messages, questions, proposals to cooperate, or my personal favorite method of liaison, dead D-class. Charming. The unpredictability and infinite possibilities associated with this hole are what make it so scary. Folks from other worlds may try to breach our world with weapons and cause issues. Plus, a couple of saliva-covered dismembered human body parts have been discovered, and I really don't know what to make of that. So let me know what you think that might be down in the comments. Coming in at number 3, Tufto's Proposal, the Scarlet King, the big bad. The interdimensional being just waiting to crash through the thin walls separating us from sure destruction. I love this guy. So many good tales focus on the Tomato Prince, so many entries making vague references to his incredible reality-altering power. Depending on who you ask and what their headcanon is, the raspberry royalty can be a whole lot of things. He also seems to have his fingers in a whole lot of pies, with plenty of popular entries seemingly hinging on the existence of a cardinal. My favorite Bloody Baron theory involves a certain procedure named after a certain doctor involving certain unnameable acts. But the fact that this could be hypothetically overwritten by Tufto's Proposal is also very interesting. If nobody messes with what Montauk is doing, the reddish royalty may remain contained for as long as we would like. However, humans are typically prone to messing with things, so we'll see how that goes. To summarize, the Scarlet King wants us all gone and a very tenuous seal holds him in place. Good luck. Coming in at number 2, SCP-2639. Some good old video game violence, what's not to love? Unstoppable massacres of the innocent, you say? Yeah, that's pretty rough. This SCP is basically 3 teens who got sucked into a modded version of Quake circa 1997. Their physical bodies ceased to exist and their minds ran inside of the computer. This fits the quota of another dimension, a virtual one. They would spawn into infinite new games and chat in the lobby between each bout. However, these games would physically take place in different areas across the world. A 1 kilometer squared zone would be sectioned off and the big beefy gun-toting avatars would spawn in. The environments were destructible because they were real environments. Grunts, Rottweilers, and other modded enemies were actually real people covered with video game skins, caught within the murder zone. So the teens in control had no idea that this is happening though, and as such mucked thousands of people, all the while thinking they were just playing Quake. A Foundation member was able to reach out to the trio and fill them in on the noxious activities they had been unwittingly engaged in. The news was not received particularly well. For a while, the teens became moody and withdrawn, a pretty reasonable response for hormonal gamers who had recently discovered they were mass murderers by accident. However, this story does have a happy ending. After having a good think about it, the good folks trapped inside the desktop decided they would become a mobile task force of their very own, Omega 9, the Scrubs. They act as a rapid response team for containment breaches involving violent, hostile anomalies. Non-human eliminations only, naturally. Even with this happy ending, it's a pretty terrifying group. In fact, the destructive power of these 3 was further explored in SCP-5000, where they were summoned by the New Look Foundation to take out some definitely non-human baddies, who actually turned out to be human after all. They're only as good as the hand leading them, so if they fall in with some bad company, we're all pretty screwed. And lastly at number 1, SCP-1936. Visit the town of Daleport, a sleepy, serene tourist town full of lovely churches, inns, and horrible abominations. So close. Following the misguided efforts of the good Reverend Hawshore, the burgeoning villa of Daleport became shrouded in a shivering mist of sorts. Through this mist, plenty of Lovecraftian elder god-style creatures were summoned and bound to the town, leading to an all-out war between horrors. Of course, there's no war without collateral, and the good people of Daleport definitely got a hefty taste of death and despair. The mist has dispersed now, revealing the damage done, but while it hung over the villa, unspeakable events took place. Some were friendlier than others, attempting to assimilate the humans rather than destroy them. But for every triangle-faced, peacoat-wearing humanoid, there were multiple decapitation-happy, viscera-spraying beasts to boot. Hashor wanted to bring all sorts of cosmic beings to one place and have them duke it out for total control of the laws of the universe. He had foreseen that there were many all-powerful beings, but too many were unable to totally wrench control for themselves, so being a super genius diplomat, Hashor brought them all to one place for a cosmic battle royale of sorts, winner take all. His plan was to worship whatever came out on top for some choice rewards. This, as you may have guessed, did not go according to plan. The whole town was destroyed and no humans were left alive to be worshippers. There are plenty of anomalies strewn about the town now, like rooms that get smaller when you enter, floating corpses that move in only one direction regardless of force applied, and other unexplainable phenomena. What happened to the remainder of the so-called gods, we may never know. Mysteries are good for your health, right? If you're still itching to take a peek behind the cosmic veil, maybe reconsider. These interdimensional nasties would be reason enough to stay right where you are and ponder strictly the understandable. What do you think? Which is your favorite? Are there any SCPs from another dimension that should have made the cut? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's have a quick look at some of your more shimmering ones from the top 5 SCP monsters that can never escape. Part 11. Kieran says, my favorite dessert is millionaire shortbread. When I'm done, I can throw the crumbs to the peasants. But did the peasants work hard enough for those crumbs? Do they really deserve the sweet morsels you couldn't be bothered to consume? SCP-682 official asks, how am I still not in any of these entertainment pieces? Well, you are. Go watch some of our older ones and, hey, wait a minute. The real 682 wouldn't care if it was featured on a top 5 list, and it wouldn't have internet. Who are you? Luid Exotic asks, are these actually real? As real as you want them to be. Ruben Wilson asks, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? A woodchuck would chuck as much wood as a woodchuck could as a woodchuck could chuck wood? I did my best. Casually Shaggy says, comment still redacted. Damn. I really wanted to know what it said. And that's all the time we have for today. Before I cover myself in honey and visit the apiary, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more reality rending videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.